Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Zoo Crew Recovery Life podcast. My name is John A., and I am an alcoholic in West Palm Beach, Florida. My sobriety date is September 13th, 1982. Please be sure to subscribe to the podcast and hit the notifications button. You can recover very quickly in Alcoholics Anonymous by having the steps become a way of life for you sooner than later. And in this episode of our podcast, we're going to be discussing using your character defects or shortcomings to your advantage. For starters, there is absolutely no difference between a shortcoming and a character defect. Bill Wilson simply did not want to use the same words to end the sentences in step 6 and 7. And every single human being on this earth is flawed. And the same character defects are in every single human being on this earth to some degree. You may have never killed anyone, but you've had murderous thoughts. You may have never robbed a bank, but you've probably stolen. We are all afflicted with this problem called humanness. As long as we're a human being, we are flawed. We will never be perfect. And something else to realize is that you will never be rid of your character defects. If you were able to get rid of all your shortcomings, you'd be perfect. You would be without flaw. And we know that will never happen. There's no such thing as a perfect person. We're all flawed. We're all human beings. And some people think that God does the removing and they don't have to do anything themselves. I believe that I have to work on my character defects and God will help me. Without God, I can't. Without me, He won't. We have to take some action in managing our character defects. He will help us help ourselves if we are willing and humble enough. We cannot continue to curse and expect God to snap his fingers and make us stop cursing. We must make a conscious effort to stop cursing, and God will help us. We can't just pray for a job and expect to get one if we don't take some action and fill out applications, talk to people, etc. God moves mountains, but we need to bring a shovel because faith without works is dead. Suppose you want to win the lottery this weekend. You can have all the willingness and humility in the world, but nothing happens until you take action. You can pray as much as you want. Nothing will happen unless you take some action. You need to buy a ticket. Our big book rather has a chapter called Into Action because the founding members of AA saw how important action was and is to getting sober and staying sober. Willingness and humility are very important to getting sober and maintaining our sobriety, but we have to continue to take action. And one way to use your character defects to your advantage is through sublimation. Sublimation. How does sublimation work? And sublimation is spelled Sublimation. Sublimation. I'll put the word in the description of the podcast as well. How does sublimation work? Consider what might happen if you are overcome with anger. An emotional blow-up is one way of dealing with these feelings, but such expressions of emotion can be harmful. For instance, you might find yourself with damaged relationships and a reputation as a hothead. Rather than fly off in a fit of rage, what if you channeled those angry emotions into some type of physical activity, such as cleaning your house? You might spend a few hours angrily scrubbing down your kitchen and bathrooms. And once your feelings of frustration eventually subside, you are left with a positive result, a sparkling clean house. This is one example of how sublimation can transform negative impulses into behaviors that are less damaging and even productive. And let's look at another example. This is from a TV show, uh, the TV show called Dexter. Dexter was a TV series that aired on Showtime from October 2006 to September of 2013. Set in Miami, the series centers on Dexter Morgan, played by Michael C. Hall, a forensic technician specializing in bloodstains pattern analysis for the fictional Miami Metro Police Department. And Dexter leads a secret parallel life as a vigilante serial killer, hunting down murderers who have not been adequately punished by the justice system due to corruption or illegal technicalities. So the fictional character Dexter used his murders for good, if you will, instead of evil by killing other murderers. And how about this? How you apply this yourself? Some people don't think you can get sober and stay sober. Well, why not get mad and prove them wrong? And one reason that AA has grown so much is because of resentments and anger. You don't like the direction a meeting is going? All you need is a chair and a coffee machine, and you can start your own meeting. And now, actually, with Zoom, all you need is the time to start your own meeting. If you keep the meeting to under 40 minutes, it doesn't even cost you a penny. It's free. And not all your shortcomings are bad if you can channel them to your advantage. Did you grow up poor? Fear of living like that again can motivate you to great heights. The trick is to find a balance in your endeavors. You don't want to you don't want the fear to turn to greed. You don't want the anger to become a resentment. And the difference between anger and resentment, well, let's look at what Father Martin says about that. He says that if someone slaps me in the face, I have every right to be angry. But if I'm still angry about it, even a month from the event, then it becomes a me problem and not about them. So I can get mad, but I don't want to stay mad. I don't want it to become a resentment. And in doing some research for this podcast, I came upon a very interesting little exercise. What I'd like you to do is think about your biggest weaknesses at work and in life. What qualities are you most unhappy about? I'm going to read off a list of about 16 weaknesses or character defects. Listen carefully and choose the three that resonate with you: disorganized, inflexible, stubborn, inconsistent, obnoxious, emotionless, shy, irresponsible, boring, unrealistic, negative, intimidating, weak, arrogant, indecisive, impatient. So, do you have your three biggest weaknesses? Great. And I will put this list again in the description of the podcast. Now, I'm going to read the same, let's say, 16 weaknesses again, or character defects. And opposite each one, I will read the strength that goes along with it, or the opposite of it. So, if you're disorganized, your strength is that you're probably creative. If you're inflexible, the strength is organized. If you're stubborn, the strength is dedicated. Inconsistent, you may be flexible. Obnoxious, enthusiastic. Emotionless, calm. Shy, you're probably reflective. Irresponsible, adventurous. Boring, responsible. Unrealistic, positive. Negative, realistic. Intimidating, you're probably just assertive. You're weak, you're probably humble. Arrogant, self confident. Indecisive, patient, impatient, passionate. And again, the three qualities that I mentioned right after the weakness are all strengths. Hidden in your weaknesses are your strengths. Every weakness has a corresponding strength. And again, I will put this list in the description of the podcast. Try focusing on the strengths opposite your weaknesses. As the song goes, accentuate the positive and eliminate the negative. Now, there are only two short paragraphs written about steps 6 and 7 in the big book, but Bill Wilson fixed that situation when he wrote the 12 and 12 in 1952. And in my opinion, steps 6 and 7 are the crux of the AA program. And we can live in steps 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 because the resentments in steps 4 and 5 are mainly because of my character defects. And the amends that I make in steps 8 and 9 are again a direct result of my character defects or shortcomings. And you still have every single defect or shortcoming that you came into AA with. They don't show up that often if you've changed. And you have to continue to work on yourself so that the obsession to drink stays away. Alcohol was never the problem. We are the problem. Our character defects are the problem. But as you can see, we can, however, sometimes use our character defects to our advantage. So once again, thank you for listening to the Zoo Crew Recovery Life podcast on using your character defects or shortcomings to your advantage. My name is John A., and I am an alcoholic in West Palm Beach, Florida. My sobriety date is September 13th, 1982. Feel free to like this video and subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button so you can be notified when we upload new videos. Leave a comment and we will respond. Thank you. Have a great day.